Okay, get ready, guys, because this is bad. This is really, really bad. Okay, we're gonna go through this entire thing. So this was released yesterday at 7:38 p.m. I'm not familiar with this guy Christopher F. Rofo, but this is a big. This is crazy. What you're about to hear is not a meme. What you're about to hear is not from the Babylon Bee. This is not from Clickhole. This is not a troll. This is apparently legit. And it's insane.
Geeks and Gamers is simply rubbish. But that's not enough to start this video, so Jeremy is a cunt that complains about diversity in movies, and though he claims not to be racist or sexist, he dog whistles pretty hard. This video is Disney's insane racism training program exposed. I'm quite sure that this video will suck as all Geeks and Gamers videos do, so let's get started.
Scoop. The Walt Disney Corporation claims that America was founded on systemic racism.
America was founded on racism. Come on.
Encourages employees to complete a white privilege checklist and separates minorities into racially segregated affinity groups. I've obtained internal documents that will shock you. According to a trove of whistleblower materials, Disney has launched a diversity and inclusion program called Reimagine Tomorrow, which includes training on systemic racism, white privilege, white fragility, white saviors, microaggressions, and anti-racism.
All seem reasonable to me.
and here's some of the images right here. What can I do about racism? An anti-racism discussion guide. Unbelievable. Disney claims that America has a long history of systemic racism and transphobia, and tells employees they must take ownership of educating yourself about structural anti-black racism and not rely on your black colleagues to educate you, which is emotionally taxing. It's emotionally taxing, everyone.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable that a company might want its employees to be able to identify racism. Racism isn't always as overt as calling a black person the N-word.
Look at this right here. And they bring up murders of all of these, these black people that have died at the hands of police. They don't bring Tony Timpa into it. They don't bring the long list, a mile long of white people. They don't bring David Dorn into it. You know, the black police officer that was killed in the BLM riot. They don't bring any of that into it. Why? Because race is only important when you can build a narrative around it. Unbelievable.
That's because black people are disproportionately more likely to be killed by police.
Deepening your insight and knowledge is a critical first step to understanding the magnitude and complexity of the current state and building empathy to authentically connect with your black colleagues. Take ownership of educating yourself about structural anti-black racism in the current and historical context. Opt for sources from black authors, journalists, and organizations. Do not rely on your black colleagues to educate you. This is emotionally taxing. Unbelievable.
It would be helpful to seek the perspective of black creators who can give their own unique perspective. Also, in today's world where YouTube exists, it's not all that difficult to educate yourself. There are many POC content creators talking about their experiences and all of these systemic issues.
White employees are told to work through feelings of guilt, shame, and defensiveness to understand what is beneath them and what needs to be healed. They must listen with empathy. And yeah, do not question or debate Black colleagues' lived experience. Do not question, ladies and gentlemen. Do not question.
First off, that passage said that white people don't have to and shouldn't feel guilty for being white, which is true, and they aren't. That don't question part, I do admit, is irksome. Asking questions shouldn't be taboo, especially if you're just trying to better understand.
Disney tells employees they should reject equality or equal treatment and instead strive for equity or the equality of outcome. They must reflect on America's racist infrastructure and think carefully about whether or not their wealth is derived from racism. I love the meme that they use. It's a meme. It's a meme. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
The median income of black families is much lower than that of white families. Equity is probably necessary, you cunt.
Disney sponsored the creation of a 21-day racial equity and social justice challenge and recommended it to employees. The challenge begins with a lesson on systemic racism and tells participants they have all been raised in a society that elevates white culture over others. It's not a meme. It's real. The meme has become reality. Next, participants are asked to complete a white privilege checklist. I am white. I am heterosexual. I am a man. I still identify as the gender I was born in. I have never been raped. I don't rely on public transportation, and I have never been called a terrorist.
Yeah, racism exists, sexism exists, transphobia exists, income inequality exists and is bad, Islamophobia is bad. Where are your arguments?
Finally, participants are told they must pivot from white dominant culture to something different. The document claims that competition, individualism, timelessness, and comprehensiveness are white dominant values that perpetuate white supremacy culture. We're in a world where individualism is now perpetuating white supremacy culture.
I mean, it could if you're not denouncing white supremacy, as you're not.
Disney recommends that employees read a how-to guide called 75 Things White People Can Do for Racial Justice. The article tells readers to defund police. They want to defund police, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, I do think that is a little cringy. I don't know how it works in America. I assume that police funding is determined by the local government and not by its citizens. I could be wrong. Let me know if you're not a fuckwit.
Participate in reparations, decolonize your bookshelf, and join a local white space.
I might be oversimplifying, but I guess that the best reparation would be to just abolish capitalism.
Finally, Disney has launched racially segregated affinity groups for minority employees with the goal of achieving culturally authentic insights. The Latino group was named Hola. The Asian group was named Compass, and the Black group named Wakanda. Not a meme. Again, this is not meme review, okay? This is not meme review. This is real. I know I have to keep qualifying that, but that's just where it is. And he has the full story right there. Absolutely insane.
While I might see how this could be iffy, it's stated that the goal is to achieve culturally authentic insight. Example: it probably wouldn't have made the Mulan remake good, but if the affinity group for Asian people, which stated goal is to achieve cultural authenticism, was present during that movie's filming, maybe they'd know that phoenixes aren't Chinese. China has their own analog to phoenixes, but those have their own names.
Insane. But is anybody surprised? Is anybody that's paying attention surprised? Is anybody? Again, we've been talking about this for years. I wasn't just saying it because I didn't like The Last Jedi. I was saying it because I was noticing what was going on. I was seeing the pieces falling apart around me. I noticed it earlier than that, but I wasn't willing to really call it out. I wasn't red-pilled enough from the movie standpoint to really realize what was going on. I noticed a lot of the identity politics before The Last Jedi came out. I noticed all of it. I saw it with the Ghostbusters 2016. I saw it with, a lot of different movies and properties and how they were defending it. But it wasn't until The Last Jedi came out, and then the reaction, and then Disney's reaction to the fan reaction, and then it just kind of opened the floodgates for me.
What are you talking about?
And at that point, it became clear. It became clear how Disney and Lucasfilm, who previously had a relationship with me until I started to criticize their movies, and then they suddenly wanted nothing to do with me. Went on a personal tour of Lucasfilm before The Last Jedi came out. And then suddenly, when I started criticizing them, completely unfriended me on Facebook, unfollowed me on Twitter, and has never spoken with me since. Why? Because I dared to criticize the mouse. I will continue to criticize the mouse if I feel like it, because that's what I need, because I see it and I'm not going to back down from it.
I don't know, looking back on your channel around the time of The Last Jedi's release, your videos were still only getting hundreds of views. I doubt that Disney really paid attention to that.
But this just confirms everything we've been saying for all of these years. We've been saying this. This isn't something we were just making up. And now you're seeing all of these programs that are built to brainwash, that are meant to sit there and condition people to believe a certain thing. Even if they don't believe it at first, it's meant to condition them. And of course, you're shamed if you go against it.
And what thing is that? That black people exist? That gay people exist? That women exist? Why the fuck do you have a problem with that? Sure, you aren't specifically saying it, but you seem to be dog whistling because this is the shit that reactionaries bitch about.
You're called all of these names if you go against it, and you have these lazy SJWs on Twitter. And just to be clear, the majority of people that try to help push this stuff are lazy fucks that don't want to ever do anything in life. They just want to sit around on Twitter and complain and be professional victims.
Well, look who's talking, jackass. Disney unfollowed me. Oh, boo, poor me. Ugh, that was awful. Geeks and Gamers continues to be horrible, and Jeremy continues to be a twat. A cunty twat. A cunty twat whom I hate listening to. He complains about nothing. He bitches about nothing. This sucks. This fucking sucks.